I left him mid-check to save my career. He stood in the hallway with his hand on the deadbolt, whispering numbers under his breath. Stove, windows, outlets, wallet, phone, locks, again. And I had to be silent. If I said a single word, he would blink, swallow, and start all over like the last 10 minutes never happened. I learned to hold my breath in my own home. For a year, his checks had been growing, stretching like gum that never snaps. At first, it was cute in a quirky way. Then it ate our evenings, our plans, my patience. I begged him to see someone. He told me he had it under control, eyes rimmed red from not trusting his own thoughts. We both knew that was a lie. 2 weeks ago, my boss hosted a dinner at a nice place to celebrate my promotion. This was my chance to show up like I belonged there. I told him we were leaving at 7 and asked him to start his routine at 5. You would think 2 hours would be safe. He nodded, said he would be quick. I dressed, I did my makeup. I watched the clock chew through minutes. At 6:45, he was in the hall, silent, counting the lock. The rule was still the rule. No sound, no questions, no, are you good, baby? If I spoke, he reset. At 6:55, my stomach was in my throat. He tapped the lock again and winced. Then he whispered. I got distracted, starting over. I felt something crack inside me. I grabbed my purse, pressed the elevator button with a shaking finger, and walked out while he counted. I left my partner mid-check. In the car, I stared at my phone as it lit up with his name. I did not pick up. I rehearsed a traffic excuse that sounded casual. I was 5 minutes late. No one cared. My boss laughed about the parking. I smiled like my heart was not still lodged in the doorway of our place. I ate seared fish and pretended my hands were not trembling under the napkin. When I got home, he was furious in that quiet way, his voice clipped, jaw tight. You left me, he said. You know how this is for me. I told him I also know how it is for me, that I cannot keep living in a house where speech is a trigger and time is a casualty. He called me cruel. I called him stubborn. We slept back to back, both of us staring at our own walls. Days went by. He iced me out but still did the rituals. Moments of normalcy snapped like twigs when the loop grabbed him by the throat. Then I talked to his mom. She told me, gentle and exhausted, that he had been stopping by her place on his lunch break just to check her stove and locks, even when she was standing there watching him. He would leave and then come back because a thought snagged. That sentence punched a hole in my denial. It was not just our apartment. It was wherever he was. It was everywhere. That Sunday we had tickets with friends to a Christmas museum. He promised he was fine. We were 30 minutes late because the front door did not feel right to him, because a window looked wrong, because the light switch needed to be touched 3 times just so. In the car, he kept apologizing and then asking me if I was mad and then apologizing for asking. I snapped. Not cruel, not screaming, just done. I told him I loved him and I also told him the truth. This thing had taken our mornings, our nights, our plans, my voice. I told him I would not keep losing pieces of my life to his ritual. I told him we needed help now, not someday, not when work was calmer, not when he felt ready. Now. He stared out the window and his eyes filled up. For a long time he did not speak. He wiped his face with his sleeve and laughed once, the kind of laugh that sounds like breaking. I am scared, he said. I told him I was too. I told him fear is not a plan. We sat in that parked car with the engine ticking and cold air sneaking in, and it felt like being on a cliff edge, toes over rock, wind in our teeth. He looked at me like he was trying to decide whether to jump or step back. His hands were shaking. He pulled out his phone, scrolled, and then held it up to me with his mouth pressed flat. I booked a therapist for the morning.